Here, thank you. Is it okay for me to erase the board? So how are you today?
Good.
Did you have any questions on the homework assignment?
No.
Okay.
You said Ashley will be back tomorrow.
That's what they said.
Did Anna move schools?
I don't think Ayla's going to school. Her mother did not communicate. Okay, so we finished the multi-step problems yesterday on lesson 12. So we're to lesson 13. Problems about comparing, and then elapsed time problems. 63. So, first we're going to talk about problems about comparing things, and then we're going to talk about elapsed time problems. And this begins on page 63. It goes through page 65 as far as the lesson is concerned. And then we have exercises on pages 66 and 67, and maybe 68. I haven't looked that far. All right. So, problems about comparing. And these are word problems. Sometimes they call them story problems. Sometimes they're about comparing the size of two groups. They'll ask questions such as how many more are in the first group, how many fewer are in the second group. And comparison problems like these have a subtraction pattern. So in a subtraction problem, we have a larger number minus a smaller number which equals the difference. And it should be smaller than the large number as well, but it could be larger than the smaller number. Okay. And then in place of the words, we can use letters, so we'd use L minus S equals D. And so they use the first letter of each word. So we have example 1. There were 324 girls and 289 boys in the contest. How many fewer boys than girls were in the contest? So remember our pattern, larger minus smaller equals difference. So here, how many fewer boys? The larger number is the girls' number. So we'll have 324 girls. And this is kind of like some and some more, except we're subtracting. So, and then we'll have 289 boys. And we're going to get boys. Or fewer boys. So, I have to borrow here. So, because 9 is larger than 4, I can't subtract 9 from 4. So, I have to borrow from the 2, that will make the 2 a 1, and make the 4 a 14. So 9 from 14 is 5. Then 8 is larger than 1, so I'm going to have to borrow from the 3 now, and that will become 11. 8 from 11 is 3. So there are 35 fewer boys than girls. So since it is a word problem, we would like to write a complete sentence answer. And we can say, there were 35 fewer boys than girls in the contest. You could also say there were 35 more girls than boys, but they asked how many fewer boys. Okay, does that make sense?
You can erase the top. I just need to get the example.
Okay. I'll be right back. Like all of us.
Like all of them.
Okay. All right. We're now on to elapsed time problems. So elapsed time is the time between two events. They illustrate it this way on the array. We have event 1, we have event 2, and this space in between is the elapsed time. So one of the things you can think of is the time that has elapsed between the moment you were born and now is your age. So subtracting today's your birth date from today's date. So today's date Mine is your birth date. Whoop. Equals your current age. So notice how this is the later happening event that we start out with, and then we subtract the earlier event. And then we come up with a difference, which is always the answer to a subtraction problem. Mm-hmm.
What is daylight savings?
Okay. Daylight savings is a convention that the government came up with to supposedly help save energy.
Is that why in daylight savings is like dark so fast?
Hmm.
Is that why in daylight savings is like nighttime fast?
Daylight savings is nighttime comes later. I never really understood it because, like, for farmers, they get up early. When we have daylight savings time, it is dark early in the morning. So they're having to use electricity. And there's often an argument about it.
Are you a farmer?
Hmm?
Do you live on a farm?
I'm sorry, I can't. You're very quiet, child.
Do you live on a farm?
Do I live on a farm?
Mm-hmm.
No, my mother grew up on a farm. So. Okay. This is like the AI generated answer. Benjamin Franklin is often credited with the idea, but he was being funny when he suggested it. It was first implemented on a national scale during World War I as an energy saving measure. Germany and Austria began observing it on April 30th, 1916. The United Kingdom followed after that. The United States enacted the Standard Time Act on March 19th, 1918, which established both standard time zones and daylight savings time, with the first implementation beginning on March 31st, 1918. So, in 1918, our government divided the country into time zones, Eastern, we're in Central, Mountain, Pacific, and then I'm not sure what comes after that. Hawaiian, maybe. And they allowed for daylight savings time. That law was repealed in 1919 because farmers found it disruptive to their schedules. Of course they would.
Oh, do you want me to put like my actual birthday date?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want me to actually put my birthday date on there? My birthday date.
No, I'm just telling you. On your actual birthday date? Well, if you want to. So then it was reinstated during World War II under President FDR. And it stayed daylight savings time from February 9th, 1942 to September 30th, 1945. And then in 1966, the Uniform Time Act of 1966 was passed, which standardized the start and end dates of daylight savings time across the country, setting it to begin on the last Sunday in April and end on the last Sunday in October. That was later amended in 1986. The start date was moved to the first Sunday in April. And in 2007, it was extended to begin on the second Sunday in March and end on the first Sunday in November. And that's how it is today. Back in the 70s, which is what I remember, Jimmy Carter proposed, and it was tried, a year-round daylight savings time because of the energy crisis. Some states observe. Hawaii and Arizona do not. And in some states, the state observes while some cities have opted out. So in Indiana, they observe, but Indianapolis does not. So that makes the times weird in Indiana.
My handwriting is so pretty.
All right.
You
So-
want to see it?
Your handwriting is pretty. You're very neat. Yes, very neat. And it's good to read, which is helpful for me. All right, so now we have example 2. It's a question. How many years were there from 1492 to 1620? Okay, so we'd start with 1620 and subtract 1492. Again, 2 is smaller than 0, so I have to borrow. This becomes a 1, this becomes 10. 2 from 10 is 8. 9 is bigger than 1, so again I have to borrow here. This becomes a 5, that becomes 11. 9 from 11 is 2. 4 is not bigger than 5, so I do not have to borrow. 4 from 5 is 128 years. So, again, we write with a complete sentence. There were 128 years from 1492 to 1620. And it does not end in a question mark. It is a statement. And remember, when you're doing word problems, you want to make sure that your answer is reasonable. 128 years is reasonable for a time span of 14 something to 16 something. If you had gotten like 700, that would not be right.
Public practice set A and B. Is the practice on page
66. Well, it doesn't tell me. Alright, can I erase example 2? Mm-hmm.
there's the one.
Alright, and let's go over example 3. Abraham Lincoln was born in 1809 and died in 1865. How many years did he live? So we'll take 1865 and subtract 1809. Okay, again. 9 is greater than 5, so I have to borrow from the 6. Comes to 15. 9 and 15 is 6. 0 is not larger than 5, so I do not have to borrow. 56, and then that's 0. So he lived till 56 years old. Lived 56 years. We don't have to say how old he was. Okay. So I would like maybe start on practice set. We have about 5 minutes left.